Hello, everyone. Welcome to It's Sybil. I am Sybil Wilkes, and the guys are here with me today. Hello, Damon Williams. How are you?
Hello, Sybil Wilkes and Cameron, and everybody on the Tuesday broadcast. What's up?
How you doing there, Cameron?
I'm doing very well, Sybil. How's it going, Damon? And hello, family.
What's So, Damon, are you home? I
Yes,
know. Okay, so you've closed up the Martha's Vineyard Comedy Festival for the season.
yes, we wrapped that up, and I came home to the dynamic evening of comedy with Jay Anthony, George Wallace, Myra J, and a surprise pop up from Tom Joyner. So
Was
we
it a
were
surprise? Was it?
not for me,
Oh.
no. Yeah,
And we will talk about that a little bit later. How you
yeah.
doing, Cameron?
Feeling all right. Coming off of a pretty good weekend. A friend of mine just booked a gig on HBO Max on South Side. The other one just booked a show at the Goodman Theater, um, and uh, and so we just went out and we celebrated. Um, we uh, we decided to exercise a bit of our agency as three very attractive black men and made our way around the city.
And what
And
does that look like?
it looks in it looks like in the form of just seeing if we can wind up in the company of some very beautiful women for the evening, and we were very successful.
Okay. Everybody had a woman or more than one, or how did that work?
There were multiple. It was a very transient population. It's safe to say that the three of us, we can definitely hold down a crowd.
I see.
Yeah.
It was a transient. Does that mean they don't have a place to live and they're just kind of moving from place to place?
They wanted to stay. They needed to go. Ubers and Lyfts were outside. It was a whole thing.
Wow.
So
They wanted to say they needed to go.
yeah.
Okay. Okay.
I like it.
Uh, I'm offended. But okay. But but I guess it's a guy thing, and it was successful.
Indeed.
Uh, as they say, are you going to see any of these women again,
No,
or this was a one night only?
this was just a trial run. Um, when we make our way to like the New Yorks and the LAs, we will
Hmm.
be fully deployed in the field of battle.
And you think that the competition in LA and New York and other cities is comparable or greater than what you find in Chicago in terms of eligible and available men?
Um,
So that when although they want to stay, they have to go and
I think the
whatever that
competition
was.
is definitely stiff, but Chicago clout goes really far. That
To
Chicago
the south side, to the north side?
from the East Coast to the West Coast.
Coast
Okay.
to coast, LA to Chicago.
Yeah, I've heard
Yeah.
that tune before. Damon, back in the day, do you remember Chicago going that far? The reputation
Yeah.
of men?
I mean, when you say you're from Chicago to this day, women like Chicago men, they're so polite. Chicago men, blah blah blah. I've heard that we have. I've been out the game so long.
Right, right.
Right? Yeah. So it's a little dust on my transient, my transient association, but
Uh-huh.
I move around and I still hear things. So yeah, Chicago guys, and Midwest gentlemen, are usually held in high esteem around the country.
I see. I see.
Yeah.
And I'm just wondering if the gentlemanliness of young Chicago men still carries that same sort of cachet that it did back in the day. Well, I would just be curious to get that from Chicago or from women who have come in contact with the young Chicago
Well,
guys.
yeah, certainly in Cameron's squad, I know he comes from good stock and hangs out around good people and he has good transient game.
Oh dear God. Okay. All right. Well,
The big A word is transient.
well,
Yeah.
that ain't big. That ain't big. It just means you got a lot of women coming in and out.
Yeah.
So thank you all so very much for indulging me in that short-lived conversation.
Yes.
And good luck with that, Khameron. Let's talk about the What You Need to Know newsletter. This is our Monday through Friday newsletter. It's absolutely free. If you would like to subscribe, and we highly encourage and invite you to do so, please go to SybilWilkes.com. Give us your name and your email address, and we'll have you signed up immediately. And it will be in your email box every Monday through Friday morning, first thing. Sometimes we find that it's a little earlier than others. So, Khameron, let's talk about your story. And that would be about Ambassador Dennis Rodman.
Yes, the unofficial official ambassador of Dennis Rodman. The latest development in the case of Brittany Griner. Dennis Rodman seems to keep a very close friend group with today's dictators. Kim Jong-un, of course, being one, and now he's claiming that Vladimir Putin is a friend of his, and that he is a cool guy. Now, normally we would call that person treasonous, but considering that Dennis Rodman has been seen breaking bread with Kim Jong-un, and that his stardom has granted him access to these very exclusive spaces that no other celebrity, no other person has been able to reach. He said that he is going to travel to Russia and speak to Putin on behalf of Brittany Griner. We all know that the latest is that she has appealed the 9-year sentence that she got handed down over allegedly trafficking the cannabis oil cartridges. I developed a lot of respect for Dennis Rodman, especially after watching The Last Dance on Netflix. After I saw that, I really considered him like an absolutely amazing human being. And so if he does have some secret magical negotiating power, I really hope that it helps more than it hurts, because the grim reality of the situation is that Putin has no reason to give us anything over this at all. That he can use this as a way to sow more discord between the population and sow more distrust in the American government. But Dennis Rodman already takes credit for the release of Kenneth Bay from North Korea previously in 2014. So maybe he's 2 for 2 on that jump shot that he never takes.
He's 1 for 1 right now.
Right. Yes. Yeah. Maybe he'll go 2 for 2.
Maybe he can worm his way in there.
Yes.
Good morning, everybody. I was waiting for that one. So Damon, your thoughts on Lil Kim's best friend, Dennis Rodman, the ambassador?
Well, we know that Dennis is a party animal, and he's been known to be in some wild party spaces. And the Russian oligarchs love to have celebrities around, and that he's probably been in some rooms, as Khameron stated, and seen some things and done some things with Putin that no one has. So if he's cool with the Russians and he say that's his boy, yeah, you just never know. You can't count him out, because one thing about Dennis Rodman, he delivers. I just read an article about when he was being signed to the Bulls. He said he would, if he didn't earn his salary, then they could keep the money. He would play for free. So he puts his money where his mouth is, literally, in that case. And let's hope, for Brittany's sake, regardless, that he can do something. And I believe there's a possibility there, even though the timing is bad because of that explosion that just killed the daughter of the Russian brain, they call it, or Putin's brain. But you just never know.
So I obviously have a whole different take on Dennis Rodman, and I am one of great cynicism about him, and I think that, especially in light of his current situation personally, where he is estranged from his daughter, and he is not taking the time who is a professional soccer player, if I'm not mistaken, and if he doesn't take time to go out and see her and encourage her, start at home. That just seems to be for me. And I could be wrong, and I'm willing to stand and stand alone if I am. But I really believe that the Dennis Rodman talk has kind of died down, and he's looking for another opportunity to keep his name out there. Maybe it's for another branding deal. Maybe, I don't know. Maybe he's gonna try to get back into the NBA. I whatever it is. Maybe he'll get a nice pair of the shoes that he wears into Russia. He will take to one of the sporting goods companies and brand those. I really don't know, but I can't figure out why, especially when people like that who do not have good relationships. I would sow the relationships here at home first before I move to Russia to do it, and especially where the possibility exists, because the situation is so precarious, that he could do something to piss somebody off, and that could send her back even further, deeper into Russia, and for a longer period of time.
Yeah, the situation is very dangerous, and I agree, Sybil. Like, I mean, we were told as citizens not to kind of poke the bear, no pun intended, with regards to Russia. But yeah, I mean, I also have found myself questioning Dennis's motives a lot. What exactly is he doing this for? And after watching the documentary, knowing that everything that he ever does is so deeply personal to him, and then after hearing you say that, I'm like, man, like maybe he's trying to use this as a means to appease his daughter on some level, dare I say. I just really hope that Brittany doesn't get hurt in the crossfire.
Yeah.
And sometimes having kids that are little buttholes, you never know how the daughter is. I mean, let's not put it all on Dennis. I mean, first of all,
I'm putting it all on Dennis. I am.
But but it ain't your fault. It's not your fault that you couldn't pick your daddy. But I mean, if Dennis Rodman's your daddy, it's gonna be some weirdo stuff going on anyway. Let's try to take his personal life out of it. Let's say he's going to try to go and get this young lady back home, and then he can come home and patch up things with his daughter, because he got a lifetime to do that. He only got a couple days to get this lady.
But
I said he had.
Yes,
okay. He's had a lifetime. Her lifetime. Yes.
Yeah. Okay. I appreciate that point of view, Damon. I really do. But like I said, my feelings, I don't know why, because he was a damn good ball player, and and he brought himself to work every day when he went and played on that court for the Chicago Bulls. So I've got nothing against him professionally, but there's just so much in his head.
Well, yeah, and we know he's been known to be emotionally unstable. So I mean, we're talking about Dennis Rodman, the guy who wore the wedding dress to his book signing, the guy with the multiple colored hair, the piercings, that face. I mean, it's a lot going on with that brother.
Yeah, there's a lot there, and I just don't want him to mess it up for Brittany Griner to get her out.
Yeah, but I think that if the government of Russia takes him seriously, I don't see them penalize her, because he doesn't speak for diplomacy of the United States. He's coming as an individual, so I don't see it. I can't see him making it any worse. Let's just hope he can make it better. Yeah, just my thought.
Yeah, I agree with you.
They know we don't take them serious. They might release her to him just to embarrass the U.S. government.
That's a lot like remember what they did
with Jesse Jackson.
Yeah. And they sent the Robert Goodman home with him. Yeah. But Reverend Al is asked to go and do a visit. That has not happened. But what the hell? Okay. All right, Dennis, give it your best shot.
Go get it.
I do want to make note of primary election day in the states of Florida and New York, and a lot of is up for grabs, especially in the primary election. And take a look at our article about a congresswoman from Florida who is not running again for Congress, but she is running for the United States Senate. And her name is Val Demings, and she's from Central Florida. And she has as the as the headline indicates, she's not only trying to make a difference, but she's going to be making history if she does win. She has a number of opponents in the primary, but it is the general election where she's going to make a lot of difference against Marco Rubio. Little Marco, who is of the thirsty type. if you remember, the one time he was making the rebuttal to the State of the Union address, and he couldn't quite keep his throat parched. He was, I think, was an understatement. He just looked really nervous and had to go out of the shot and come with his bottle of water if it was indeed water. But Marco Rubio is one of those Republicans who, has towed the Trump line. And Florida is one of those crazy states. DeSantis is up for re-election as governor. And people were hoping that she would run against him for governor. But she wanted to go bigger. And she's an incredible woman. The first female chief of police in Orlando, amongst other things. And she is also a part of the team, the manager team in the first impeachment trial against Donald Trump. And if you can't tell, I'm a big Val Demings fan, but take a look and you will be hearing a lot from her. So please take a look at that article, as well as this federal lawsuit awarded for a Black man illegally strip searched, which is just crazy. But this is from our social justice activist, Coy Malone, talking about this particular story. A white deputy has been ordered to pay nearly $262,000 in attorney's fees for a federal court after a federal court found that he unconstitutionally strip searched a man by the name of Marcus Hyatt, a Black man, in a gas station bathroom. It's
Wow.
just ridiculous. And his attorneys had asked for even more money. His attorneys asked for $500,000, and so to show you just how crazy this is, the judge only awarded him little more than half of that, in which this happened in North Carolina. And it just makes you so sad that Black people are still, being embarrassed and treated the way they are. And he didn't get the recompense that he deserved from all of this. And I mentioned this in a previous show, but the story that came out over the weekend about a Black woman who was driving her car with her children. She cop clocked her speeding, and she didn't stop immediately. She went to a gas station off the turnpike and said that she was trying to get to a place that was well lit. This man was so angry. This policeman was so angry, and he has since resigned, as people have pointed out, but he was so angry at her. He was still in the car with his gun drawn. She's a pregnant woman with 3 children in the car. She was apologizing for doing this and trying to explain to him why she did this. And still, they don't give a damn.
Well, it's the God complex that these officers have, obey me, do what I say. I am the law. And, you wonder what the motivation is, especially in this climate, for people even to be police officers, especially white police officers in a Black community. I don't even know the circumstances of her location, but what motivates you to go and work in the hood and be a police officer if you don't have this mentality of hunting down suspects and treating people inhumanely? So I saw that video. It was very disturbing and upsetting. He pulled his gun on her. He cursed her in front of her children. He demeaned her and told her to shut up, as she tried to explain and apologize. And luckily he's resigned, but more should be done. An example should be made out of him.
Yeah. It just,
because he'll end up at a police force down the road.
That's the thing. And Khameron, we talked about, the police and the bill that has still not passed and what they are looking for to do and changing some of these laws regarding policing and what have you. And he will more than likely, although they have some of this in a bill, he will more than likely find another job somewhere else.
Yeah, and like let's not forget the fact that police departments nationwide are seeing record low enlistments,
Hmm.
and they're lowering their standards,
Yeah.
their education standards, um, their height standards. I don't know if you all have noticed, but police officers are getting shorter. Um, uh,
I had not.
seriously,
I
these
had
new
not noticed that.
these new CPD cops are so small. They're so cute. They're
They're
so
so cute.
cute.
They're so cute.
And so all the officers that are on the force are just constantly overworked, and that really just like worsens that God complex that
Yeah.
they have. And I'm not
And
excusing
and
anybody's
and
behavior, but
not to mention the Napoleon complex, because you know how that goes too. All
yeah.
right,
Yeah, and
guys.
they're armed and they carry guns. And I'm concerned that they're also lowering the standards for airline pilots. That's more concerning to me. We gotta step this workforce up in every area because we
Okay.
don't want an overworked pilot.
No, and we'll talk about that too. It's time for us to move on to the question of the day. What's really going on? And this has to, this is a little bit of fun here. Tampa Bay quarterback Tom Brady denies that he was taking, when he took a break from his workouts with the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, his team, that he went to be a contestant on The Masked Singer. He said there's no truth to that rumor, although a lot of people still believe that it is. So our friend Sherry Shepard has been a contestant on The Masked Singer, and Reverend Al Sharpton's daughter, Dominique, was recently on the Jonas Brothers game show, Claim to Fame. And if you don't know about that, we'll talk about that. But I do want to ask you, if you could appear on any game show, in a reality show, or a scripted TV show, which would it be? Damon, you are, you know, you've been on a lot of television. You've done a Def Jam, you've done, you know, The Shy, you've done a lot of stuff. You were a regular on Windy City Live in
Yeah,
Chicago. So
I hosted Showtime at the Apollo.
there you go.
Um, but when it comes to TV, it's tricky because of the game shows. I always said I wanted to be the first black host of Family Feud. I used to say that in all my interviews, but Steve got that.
Mm-hmm.
I watched The Wheel of Fortune faithfully, and Juanita loves The Price is Right. So I would have to say, of all the game shows, I think it would be Price is Right.
That's
No,
good.
I would say Wheel of Fortune. At least I know I got a shot. Price is Right, you would be stuck in the audience. You could possibly just be up there
Yeah,
going,
yeah.
yeah. So
And
Wheel of Fortune.
yelling out a number
Right. I'm
to the
definitely
people.
not trying to go on Jeopardy.
And
Nope.
any so as a game show, that would be your choice of the scripted TV shows, the reality, and the game shows. You would go for the game show.
Oh, well, scripted, that's a whole other thing. I would have loved to have been just in one episode of Martin.
Ooh, that's a good one. That's a good one.
Yeah.
That has been a lot of fun.
Yeah.
Absolutely. All right. So, ladies and gentlemen, that is the question before we go to Khameron for his choices. If you had your choice and you could appear on any game show, any reality show, or any scripted TV show, which would it be? Khameron, as a man who knows a thing or two about words and that, because that is how you make your living, what would you like to do?
Ironically enough, Quinn and I got invited Quinn and I got invited to submit an application to be on the Wall. Uh,
Oh, okay. I vaguely remember The Wall.
yeah, the
Explain
Wall.
explain the concept.
It is produced by LeBron James,
Mm-hmm.
and it's like this big giant ball drop. And as the balls drop, you rack up money, but you also have to drop balls to see how much money you lose. And then at the end, your partner is not experiencing all of the winnings that you've amassed.
Mm-hmm.
And they cut that person like a standard check of say $100,000. But it's a trust exercise at the end of the day. So they can either choose the standard $100,000 check, or they can trust how much you've either won or lost
Mm-hmm.
on the wall and choose that amount at the end of the day.
Oh, wow.
And there
Well,
are trivia.
I'm sorry,
Oh,
go ahead.
and they're like trivia questions layered in that you can use to amass more winnings, but it's a big giant like trust exercise. And so They like to pick people who are, trying to create philanthropy, and Quinn has her own nonprofit organization, and I'm just smart, so
Mhm.
that was going to be our going to be our angle.
Yeah.
And somebody that just got on Southside, so if you could plug me with that, I've been
Okay.
trying to get on that for two or three seasons now.
I got you. I'll make
You
some
make
phone
some
calls.
calls.
Yeah, this is Damon. This is ridiculous.
Right.
Southside is a fun show. It's a good
Yeah,
It
show
is.
to
yeah,
watch.
it's
It
solid.
really is. It is really good.
Uh,
Um,
I was
I
also a finalist.
let me ask
for-
you this. Let
oh,
me ask
sure.
you this. How were you all invited? What was that like?
My mom watches the show all the time, and she would always say, you and Quinn should go on. You and Quinn should go on." And so I just submitted the application, and just they asked us about like our sibling relationship, and what is it that we're in it for.
Mhm.
And then they invited us to send like a 5-minute long tape, just telling us, just telling them about ourselves. The issue was that it really came to us at a time when we had never been more busy,
Mhm.
and so it was hard for us to get it in. But knowing that we made it through there once, we're going to try and go for it again.
Cool. And that show is still on?
Yeah,
Okay. All right.
yeah,
There's so many shows out there. There's just
yeah.
so many. I've always been a fan of The Amazing Race. And up
Oh yeah.
until a few years ago, I really wanted to get Yolanda to go on with me, because she is uber competitive. And I like, the idea of working your brain and coming up with answers to some of the clues and things that they have. Over the weekend, for my birthday, she took a group of us to an escape room game. And that was a lot of fun, and working together in order to get out of what was the classroom setup.
Mhm.
But I don't know that I don't know that I have the stamina anymore to do The Amazing Race,
Wow.
but it is, but I absolutely love that game. I'm not a Survivor fan. I did watch Survivor for many years, but I love The Amazing Race. I love the camaraderie that within the each individual group, as well as sometimes coalescing to form coalitions with other people to get to the next country.
Yeah, Amazing Race was such a great show, and I think they made like a bit of a comeback in the recent years.
Hmm.
I would definitely go with me and my sister, and I imagine that the Damons would do quite well
I bet that's
as
true
well.
too. Yeah, yeah.
That'd be fun.
That would
Sybil,
be
I want
awesome.
I want you to go on Naked and Afraid. What would be your one item you could bring on Naked and Afraid? 'Cause they could bring one item or utensil.
A shirt.
Oh, I would hope you would have said drawers.
If I can cover up a man's extra large with all of this, I would. I would absolutely. That would be my one item. That would
Right.
be my one item. But the other games that I would like to do are the $100,000 pyramid, because I like Michael Strahan and the way that he does that game, and still there's a bit of a competition, and you can see who the weak links are, by who goes to the winner's circle and who stays behind. But it's I still like that game, and like you, Damon, Wheel of Fortune is still a lot of fun. There's some that I never understood how that game worked, and what was the one with the suitcases?
Oh,
That
Deal or
Meghan
No Deal.
Markle, yeah, Deal or No Deal. I never understood that, Khameron. I never understood the concept of that game. It just didn't make any sense to me.
Yeah, it's just game theory at the end
Yeah,
of at the end of the day. Risk reward
risk
factors.
reward. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
Well, how long did it take for you all to get out of that classroom?
And they gave us an hour, and we did
Okay.
do it in an
Oh,
hour.
cool.
Yeah, yeah. Yolanda thinks that they let us out. They just open the doors and go. But we did finish. But it was fun. Damon, have you done that before?
Nah.
I was like that too. I was like, really? This is what we're doing for my birthday? But it was a lot of fun. It really was. I never said that. It was all in my head, Khameron. Really? This is how we celebrate?
Do
But
you not like surprises?
I do like surprises, but this was a surprise from somebody who does not like surprises. So it was really interesting the way this all came together because Yolanda Starks White is so controlling. She hates to be surprised, but I don't think she minded being the one to orchestrate the surprise in this case. Yeah. And we wrapped up the birthday by going to see The Beast.
How was it?
It was a beast.
Okay.
Yeah, it was a beast. So that is what I don't know, Yolanda, if we have anybody who has any thoughts about TV shows. Dora Lavette Tiggs on Facebook said, I went on Let's Make a Deal in 2011 and you hated it.
Oh, what? No, but Wayne Brady.
So was Wayne Brady the host then in 2011? Has he been around?
You didn't take the boiled egg in your purse, a green stamp?
If you could show me, who was between Monty Hall and Wayne Brady, I wonder. I don't know.
I don't remember another host.
Yeah.
Currently, I'm on the case.
You're Googling.
Yeah.
Erica Gibson on YouTube says, RuPaul's Drag Race. I love that, Erica. You and J. Anthony Brown would be fabulous on that together. Jay loves that show. He absolutely loves it. Living Single. Aye Biebo on Facebook says Living Single. Or is that AJ? I'm not sure, but I apologize for the mispronunciation. Janae Brown on YouTube says Good Times. Yep. Would you like to be Little Penny's mother?
No, but I would have liked to have been Thelma's boyfriend.
Okay. Yolanda, give me Evelyn again, please. Evelyn Dawkins on YouTube, Martin or Tyler Perry show. And that, either one of those. Damon, tell me about your thoughts about being on Martin.
I went to a taping of Martin, even when I don't even think I was doing stand-up yet. And we were in the audience when Kid was on there, and Shanae and Kid had that date. And the energy in the studio audience was so great. That's the first time I told Anthony Brown this story this weekend. That was the first time I ever saw him in person. And he was like one of the first celebrity comedians I'd ever met because I did my first LA performance at his spot. But just the energy of that cast and Martin's zany antics. And it was so real. And it was so like my age, my era. That, me and Martin are around the same age, and just to hang with that crew, and, our gear was the same, our vernacular, it would have been awesome to be on Martin. Plus, my wife, that's her favorite show. She knows every Martin episode, front to back, top to bottom, and laughs like she's never seen them before.
Oh, Damon, have you ever used that as a surprise for her? Have you ever used a Martin theme?
Nope, and too late now. Thank you. No, I never thought about that. Well, I just like to say that she watches and supports all black TV. Anything black on TV, she watches. And if there's nothing black on, she'll turn off the TV and look at the screen because it's black. She watches black stuff. I'm telling you, everything, any trivia I need about any celebrity that's black or any blackness, I get it from Juanita, for sure.
I love that. Yeah. We should do a game show around her.
She'll win.
Yeah, we should make it. Are you black enough? And have
we
Juanita as the host.
Yeah, this trivia, revoke your black card. She wins every time we play that.
Wow.
Yeah, she's up on her blackness.
Yeah,
that's pretty cool.
Power.
Yep.
Good for you. I absolutely
see the flag. You see the flag.
Okay. Joylyn Wright says snapped. Oh my goodness. She said that on Facebook. Snapped is where it goes. Okay. You gonna push me. And then snapped. And you just go off and mayhem ensues. There's a cute game show on now, and I may be the only person watching it. But it's called Generation Gap. And Kelly Ripa hosts it. And so they have grandparents and their grandchildren, usually their teenage grandchildren, as teams playing another grandparent and grandchild team. And so you get to, it's kind of a long show. I'm thinking they could maybe break it up into 2 half hours, but at any rate, they make it to the end, and whoever wins, and it's usually they make make about $20,000, and then there's the promise of another prize, a grand prize. So the grandparent and the grandchild have made it to this point. They're waiting to find out what the grand prize. The grand prize is it's normally a vehicle, but they don't get to pick the vehicle. They go to the youngest person in the family, who's usually a toddler, about 3 or 4 years old, and they say, you can have this car, or you can have a My Little Pony electric, whatever, a toy with all the bells and whistles. And 9 times out of 10, there will be the choice of the whatever the train or the bike or the My Little Pony gift is. There was one little black girl.
She knew.
She knew. I don't know if they pinched her and pushed her in that direction, or she was just that smart and she went for the car. And I was like, yes.
Yeah. Amazing.
Yeah, I love the premise of that show.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a lot of fun, and in Generation Gap, meeting them, the grandparents may know, persons from the 40s, 50s, 60s, 70s, 80s, and these kids are of the aughts, and more so to the teens. 2010, they were probably born. So anyway, so that is, just think about that. What's the next show that you want to be on? It's time to talk trending topics. And as I mentioned, if you have not already, I do hope that you have registered to vote. It's a big primary day in the states of New York and Florida. And the polls are probably closed unless they have an overflow. But really, this is so very important. And we are 11 weeks out from the November 8th election. So please, please, please go out there and register. Yeah. Yeah.
It'll be November in 11 weeks. Yikes.
Yeah, I know, right?
Yeah.
Yep.
Dear summer, thank you.
It was nice, I think. But we can't all spend, part of our summer on the vineyard. Some of us, spent in the terrific heat of Dallas and then got swamped this week. So it's one of those crazy things. Khameron, tell us about your playwriting competition. What's going on? What's the latest?
Oh, sure. So I 2 weeks ago, Definition Theater hosted their Amplify series, of which I am a finalist, and people came out to support, and people voted for whatever their most favorite piece was. They're supposed to be releasing a virtual component so that people can tune in and watch all the pieces, but haven't heard any correspondence from Definition. I did have a reading of my latest play, Coronary Artery, at my mentor's house. My mentor is a very established playwright. She also has sold several TV shows, and I had that. And I had that reading among some industry folks, and it was very well received, very kick-ass play. Nice. And this is the one that I got grant funded to adapt into a short film. So looking forward to just building my team. I need to hire a producer, but also just getting out there on my my Spike Lee stuff, and just really just capturing the perspective that isn't shown from say corporate media. So I'm excited. It's going to be a very artsy season for me over this next year or so. Good. And looking forward to what's happening next. I've already shopped my new play around to some other theaters, and they all love it. So fingers crossed, we may be looking forward to my first main stage production on the Chicago circuit. So we'll see.
That is awesome. Bravo. Yes, and break a leg there, sir. That is, and just to see you grow into this incredible promise of your talent it's good to see. It really is. Very, very happy for you. Damon, I know you're going to tell us about this last weekend at Riddles, but before, tell us what shows you have coming up.
Well, this weekend I'll actually be at Riddles myself with Corey Bell and Steve Brown, who is a hilarious comedian. Steve is wild. He's crazy. Looking forward to that. But then I'm traveling soon. I'll be going to DC to the City Winery September 9th. And when I do that, after the City Winery show, the next day I'm going to Dion Cole's Netflix taping in Brooklyn, and then that Monday I'm going to the taping of It's Sherry, the Sherry
Yay!
Shepherd show. So I'll be out on the East Coast moving around. I got a call to possibly appear on the show in October, so that those things will be coming up. But right now, I'm just trying to get people to come out to Riddles. The following weekend here in Chicago, I'll be hosting the African Fest, the African Arts Festival down in Washington Park, and
Mm-hmm.
we have Jonathan Butler and a lot of other
Oh, nice.
international artists. That's going to be great. And there's a Chicago Kings comedy show September 4th. That's a day party. That's in Tinley Park at the Convention Center. So all that's
Tinley
coming up.
Park.
Wow.
Wow.
Yeah.
You got a
Lots
lot
of
happening.
stuff. Yeah.
Yeah. And I'm very excited. You mentioned our friend Sherry. Her show debuts, for people who don't know, on September 12th on in the
Yep.
same spot where Wendy Williams was. And I'm so excited for them. Well, she and John Murray. I'm just very, very excited. So Damon, tell us about the weekend with the iconic comedians George Wallace, Myra J., and J. Anthony Brown, and special guest.
It was so awesome. The people responded greatly with turnout. All 4 shows sold out. Everybody was calling at the last minute trying to get tickets after I've been telling people for a month to
Right?
get your tickets. Well, I'll buy them if I have to. Yeah, you could have bought them a long time ago. But it was great. It was just the laughing and joking in the green room is always spectacular. And then, of course, the audience was surprised to see Tom on the last show Saturday night when he came through. And, he came through, he made an entrance.
Of course.
And Jay was like, he knew what time the damn show started.
Okay. That's funny.
But George Wallace is an amazing marketing guy. He came in early, did all the morning news, WGCI, 103. He, he did his own social media stuff. So he came out and put the big push on. And then I got home. Unfortunately, I got home later than I wanted to. So I only got to dip into the first show. I actually performed on the second show Saturday, returning from the vineyard. But just to kick it with those guys, man, and just to have the 3 of them together, the dynamic, which you are well aware of when they travel and they hang out, is amazing.
Yeah.
But also to just pay homage to, my predecessors in the game. Those are some of the people that it's amazing to me that I'm even friends with these people. And this was done out of friendship. This was, don't think you can get George, J. Anthony, and Myra to come to your little club.
To your cookout.
Just that easy.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
It ain't that simple.
Right.
Yeah. So membership has its privileges, and they really blessed me with that. So we had a ball.
And they really look forward to it and said that it was sold out, and how gracious you are as a host, and as and how much fun it was to be there with the Chicago folks. That's really great. Absolutely. So Damon, tell me about your travels with pilots. You mentioned this earlier. What's the latest?
Well, I just heard that, or I read that since there's such a shortage of pilots, that they're having to reduce the standards. Like it used to be more years and more travel hours that you become a commercial airline pilot. And I'm already, they just had a flight that was flying and both the pilots were asleep and they overshot their landing.
Yeah, Air Ethiopia.
Yeah, they were up there. Yeah, so and Africans are hardworking people. If the Ethiopians up there being overworked, I do not trust these rednecks. Yeah.
No.
Yeah, so thank God for autopilot, but don't fly in smaller planes where you really have to rely on the pilot.
Right, exactly.
Yeah.
No autopilot, and the Treasury Secretary Buttigieg just sent out a memorandum warning the airlines that they are not living up to the promises, and he told them, we helped you during the pandemic, and they gave the airlines a lot of money to hold on to their pilots and their staff, and so that when we came out of this, they would be ready. And what did they do? They let a lot of them go, and now they're scrambling. And Damon, they have canceled thousands of flights on American between Dallas and Chicago, between their 2 hubs. It's just like, American,
this
what are
is
you
why
doing?
we don't bail out corporations.
Yeah.
This is why we don't do it.
It's
But
it's been a disappointment.
yeah, I mean, but it's airline travel, man. Like the United States economy is built on it, you know.
Yeah.
Uh,
But they say that the prices are
Yeah,
coming
but
down, so that's cool. So I guess,
yeah, hey.
but just
the
get them.
prices need to, and they said Southwest had less of those cancellations and have continued their schedule and even added flights. One of the only airlines to do so. So yay for me. But
Right.
it's still tricky out here, you know. And now I booked the earliest flight out. If you got some place to be and it's
Right.
important, like if you got income depending on it, either go the day before or take the earliest flight. So when you incur all these mishaps, you know, you still make it to your event. And
Yeah.
that's become tricky too, you know, because now that's an extra night hotel stay. But the hotel stay versus missing the entire event, you know, I weigh the odds on that.
Yeah.
Mm.
Yeah. That is something to consider. And it is it's just it's horrific to see people who are, you know, that are stranded, and the airlines are telling you, I'm sorry, there's nothing we can do for you. And Buttigieg is saying, yeah, you got to do something for them. So that is a good thing. This is a case I want
Yeah,
to
and
bring.
don't happen to throw in a bad weather day.
Yesterday, Damon, I thought about you because they shut down DFW airport because of the just the storm that came through, and a lot of flights canceled, a lot of grounding, a lot of delays compared to Love Field, where Southwest is that's their big hub, and they had like maybe about 57 delays. Very few cancellations. I mean, Southwest pilots will fly. Like, you know, it's unbelievable. I do want to talk to you about Rayshard Brooks, the case in Atlanta. This is Rayshard Brooks, who was asleep in a Wendy's drive-through lane in Atlanta when police responded. He struggled with officers, grabbing one cop's taser, attempting to run away. He was shot to death after officers claimed that he pointed the taser at the policeman's head and firing once and missing. Both cops were hit with criminal charges, and including aggravated assault. And this one policeman, Rolf, was charged with felony murder. Now, the special prosecutor has announced today that they are no longer pursuing criminal charges against the officers, Garrett Rolfe and Devin Brosnan. They are off the hook in this case of Rayshard Brooks, who was had been to his daughter's birthday party and had been overserved, and fell asleep in the drive-in lane. And they called the police, and subsequently, as I mentioned, what happened, and he was killed that night.
Wow. And that's just a sad escalation of a minor circumstance.
Yeah.
You know, a lot of these incidents, I mean, George Floyd with the $20 bill,
Right.
you know, Ahmaud Arbery jogging, these things that escalate, and it's, you know, it's the use of force, it's the abundance of guns, and it's the lack of level-headedness that prevails. And it's so sad that these cases turn out this way. Just like the Arkansas police officer that were beating on the homeless
Yeah.
man this past,
Yeah. Yeah, and that's a case that we're going to talk about too, Damon, because it is there's just so many things that are there. And in Rayshard Brooks's case, he left his car, so and he told them where he lived, and it was in the neighborhood. They could have just easily as just let him go, driven him home and to sleep it off, and then what? He would have been alive for the last several years to live his life and enjoy his children.
Yeah.
And I hate to be with the cliche, but in contrast to the situation with one of the mass shooters who they stopped and got Burger King for.
Right.
You know.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. In South Carolina. Absolutely. Absolutely. A crazy case in Atlanta. A young woman has been arrested in the shooting deaths of two men in Atlanta yesterday. They arrested her before she got on a plane at the airport. And if you go to, her name is Raisa Kinye. And if you go to her LinkedIn page, you can find out. She says she was retaliated against her former employer because she reported a fraud perpetrated by Wesley Freeman of Wesley Freeman CPA and covered by Scott Meyer. And those apparently are the two men that she killed yesterday. And then tried to leave the city, and they arrested her before she boarded her plane, a young Black woman. And she's been denied bond, and did speak during her hearing, but they say that she opened fire at an apartment building. The judge denied bond for her, accused of targeting people in the shooting in Midtown Atlanta. We didn't get a chance to talk about this in depth yesterday. Kind of went off in another direction. But he was precluded because of the type of crime it is from setting bond. And so she is there in both cases. It's a very, very, very sad thing.
Wow.
And I saved this story for you, Damon. Do we have time? No, we don't. Okay. All right. I'll say, I'll use it. I'll use it in another area then. Okay. All right, guys. Thanks so much for participating in our topical news. Let us move now to entertainment.
All right.
And this is a comedian, a very famous comedian, one of your colleagues, one of your peers, Damon. George Lopez has sued Pandora for streaming his comedy without a license. He says he's all for getting his comedy out there to the world, but he claims that Pandora never even bothered to license his comedy specials before streaming them, and so he's taken them to court. He says they've exploited his copyrighted material, namely his stand-up from 2 different specials, and without first getting proper permission in form of a license. And he alleges they have been streaming upwards of 37 works of his copyrighted material from the 2001's Right Now, and 2003's Team Leader, which are 2 of his stand-up specials that became albums. Is this? I didn't think this still existed, Damon. I thought everybody knew. You got to get permission.
Yeah, and I thought that like there's a company called Sound Exchange that tracks all of these things, and they pursue our royalties, and everybody gets paid from being streamed. So I don't know how this, like you said, slipped under the radar, or if he's just making a beef about it because they didn't talk to him personally. But I hope Pandora is running my stuff because we get paid for that.
Well, he says he wants an accounting of all the profits made from streaming his stuff and is looking to collect big damages. In the alternative, he's looking for statutory damages totaling $5.5 million for the alleged infringements. Does that sound about right?
Well, he's way up there with his assessment because they only play quick little clips.
Right.
But if for our sake, I hope he wins. I hope he wins. He gets what he's got coming, and we'll all set a precedent so that nobody gets exploited in that way. And we'll all start looking to see if it's somebody I can sue. Because I know I'm all over the place on the net. But right now, I just want people to hear it and enjoy it, because it's like if somebody's running my jokes from 01, God bless them for that, because I'm not using them anymore. But it would be good to have it pay your estate and your financials down the road, because eventually George ain't gonna be hopping around on planes. So that's where we get our royalty money, and that's something, like I said, I'm rooting for them to win if they did it improperly.
So I thought about you with this story as well, Khameron, because there is a situation with Lin-Manuel Miranda of Hamilton fame, and a church had taken his play, had taken Hamilton, and they rewrote parts of it to fit the gospel, but they also take a very heavy anti-homosexual stance in the play. And Miranda says, let's just cut to the chase, and my lawyer will be talking. No, my lawyers will be talking to your lawyer. I can't. And they thought, we're a little church and nobody's gonna come after us, and God knows that our hearts, but he really does not like the way that they did this, misappropriate his material.
I mean, a religious institution should know above everything that what's done in the dark comes out in the light. So not surprised that it hurt Lin-Manuel Miranda's ears. Also, just given the fact that the internet exists. Hamilton is an amazing cultural staple. It always and forever will be. And so you can't just take somebody's stuff and put a little spin on it and claim that it's your own, especially when you try to fill it with hate in a show that very vehemently takes a stance on inclusion.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, but that pastor is saying, who was on the Facebook? I said.
And I think they live streamed it. Yes, no, the Facebook. I think they live streamed it on
right,
the Facebook.
pastor, who was on the Facebook? And they take creative license with Bible stories and Christmas plays and things of that nature. But Hamilton, like I said, you could have got away with that forever years ago, but somebody was on the Facebook.
Yep, absolutely. and that Hamilton guy found out, and now there's hell to pay.
Yeah.
So we will continue to keep eyes on that, and especially with George Lopez, $5.5 million in punitive damages. That's
give him his coin.
And
All
split
right, guys.
some of that with the lady that gave him the kidney.
The ex-wife that he divorced.
Right.
I didn't know any of that. Oh
yeah. His ex-wife, when they were still married, he needed a kidney. She gave him her kidney, and then they.
So those are her jokes too.
And she worked hard for that, I bet. So that is our show for today. I'm going to close out with our daily inspiration from Yogi's Jewels. Most often, peace is more important than being right. Most often, peace is more important than being right. And you say that as you're shaking your head, nodding your head. Damon is a very wise man.
That's the key to the long-lasting marriages. Trust me. Yes, dear.
Well, go for it and keep the peace, everybody. We'll see you again soon. Thanks so much. Thanks, guys. Aloha.
Of course.